Hey folks, it's William with All Solar Texas. Utility rates are rising. They're skyrocketing all across the state. And if you want to find out how high those rates are going to go, stay tuned. We'll break it down in this video. Okay, but before we dive in, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to tap on that notification bell. That helps our channel grow and it also helps us get out in front of more audiences, which is really important when you're looking at what's going on across the solar industry with these predatory practices. Lastly, please reach out to us. Give us a call, send us a text, send us an email. We respond quickly and we can't wait to hear from you. All right, folks, so we are seeing record skyrocketing electric rates all across Texas. Some customers are reporting anywhere between 50 to 70% increases in their electric rates just compared to this time last year. So what's really driving all of those increases? Well, first off, we have increased demand, which means more and more people are moving to Texas. The heat wave that's running its course all across Texas right now is driving the demand for more electricity as more and more people are turning to running their ACs for longer and at lower temperatures to try to keep up with the heat. Well, if you have increased demand, you also have to have increased capacity. And so right now there's power generators all across Texas. Some are coal-fired, some are natural gas-fired. You also do have wind and solar and other types of power generation plants all across Texas as well that these utilities own and that they operate. And whenever ERCOT senses that there's going to be an increased demand, which normally happens because of rising temperatures or because in some cases they're just increased demand because there's more businesses coming online, what they'll do is they'll direct the utilities to increase their capacity for generation. So what happens is they start firing up more of these plants, these natural gas plants, coal plants, and other types of fuel sources. Well, right now with the commodity market, we have this Ukraine-Russia crisis, which is really raising the cost of natural gas, along with the lack of domestic production for these fuels. You see cost increases that then need to be cascaded down to you, the customer. So as the utilities are firing up more of these power plants to meet that electric demand, they're also burning more fuel and they're having to pay higher rates for that fuel. So the cost of those increased rates in order to create the enough electricity to meet the demand all across Texas is going to be cascaded down to you, the customer. Now, if you're currently in an agreement with the retailer or with the utility for a certain fixed price for your power, you still may be paying 10 cents per kilowatt hour, maybe 13 cents per kilowatt hour. But if you go and you look online, as soon as your contract term expires, you're going to have to renew. And when you renew, you could be looking at escalated prices of 50, 60, 70% or more. So you could be looking at paying 18 cents per kilowatt. Shoot, I've seen a customer that was paying 11 cents per kilowatt is now paying 22 cents per kilowatt. That is a doubling of their electric rates. And it doesn't matter if you are in a regulated space or in a deregulated space for the utility. The cost of producing that electricity is going up across the board. Additionally, you have the cost of labor, you have the cost of materials. So if you're in a regulated market, let's say with a cooperative or with a municipality, all of their prices are going up. It's more expensive to repair the lines. It's more expensive to pay the linemen and the other folks that are out there actually doing this work. So their material costs have gone up, their labor's gone up, their fuel costs have gone up. All of these trucks that they have to put gas in to fuel them in order to get these crews mobilized out to do these different services, all that's going up. And so what you're seeing is those costs are then having to be passed on to you, the customer. And that's a unique thing about solar. When you invest in solar, you're locking in your price per kilowatt that you're going to be paying for the lifetime of that system. So whether or not you're going to be in your home 15 years or 30 years, you're going to be paying that fixed price for a kilowatt hour. You're not going to pay $1 more than what you're paying when you install that system. That's one of the benefits about solar, is that you get out of that cycle, that unpredictability of those increases, the slight decreases that happen around winter, the variability of your monthly utility bill that sometimes blows your budget right out of the water. Imagine being able to know what you are paying for power over the next 25, 30 years. Imagine the freedom that you'll find being able to build your entire budget around a fixed payment if you're financing. Or if you pay cash for the system, which many of our customers opt to do, you're definitely locking in that rate for electricity because you bought that system, and so you're essentially done. You're not going to have to worry about paying for electricity ever again. Now, you will still have to pay for some base charges. There are transmission and distribution costs that you will see with Encore or CenterPoint, and that's because you're still connected to the grid, so you're still using energy at night. But then hopefully, if you've signed up with a good program, then you're able to recoup what you're using through that net metering or through those buyback options. Either way, when you decide to go solar, you're trying to just get your arms around your electric rates and remove the variability and unpredictability of these constant changing in commodity prices. And that's really what we're doing with working with our customers. We help them to understand exactly what are they currently paying for their electricity right now, what are those base demand charges that they could expect to continue to pay even after they go solar, and then we do some basic calculations to help them understand when is their payback period ending, when can they start to see a return on their investment, how much money do we forecast that they're actually going to be saving. Now, oftentimes when you're looking to just save money, solar is a great option. But if you're also looking at backup power, such as going with a standby generator or adding a battery, you can expect to pay a little bit more for that system, because now you're introducing a backup power option, which at that point the numbers maybe don't look as good. But remember, when you do decide to go solar and build in a backup power option, what you are doing is you're essentially taking on insurance. You're paying a little bit more for your system, which means that that overall price per watt is probably a little bit higher than if you were just to go with solar. But now you know that you have a backup power option. You have some insurance that is going to protect your family during the next big outage. So we see outages happening all across Texas. Now it's year long. It's not just during the summer with high heat when the grid starts to fail, but it's also the winter when these severe storms come through and take out whole sections of the grid. If you're looking to just offset your costs, solar is a great option. But if you're also looking for that insurance, for that backup power, and just to be a little bit more resilient against grid failure, then that's where we also discuss generators and backup batteries. But with every additional item that you throw into your solar package, the cost of your energy kind of goes up, because now you're combining those things together, which means that your overall cost per watt is going to be a little bit higher. But we educate customers and just let them know what their options are, and then we let them decide whether or not that makes sense for them. Many people, they're okay paying a little bit more for solar if they know that they have that backup power option. For those of us that lived through Snowmageddon, we know how terrifying it was and how frustrating it was that we were out of power and that we're paying this big conglomerate utility to keep us in energy, to keep us, keep our lights on, keep our ACs on, and when they fail us, it could be completely alarming to us, and it leaves us wondering, well, why are we paying so much money if we're getting less value and less quality and overall less production out of this commodity, right? And so that's where solar kind of steps in. It severs the ties between you and your reliance on that utility. And even though you're still maybe grid tied, if you decide to go with the grid tied option, your costs of electricity are going to be substantially more under control now, because you're going to be producing your own energy. So you're not going to have to rely on coal-fired plants or natural gas or the unpredictability of wind farms. With solar being right there on your roof, you have all the confidence that you need that you're going to be producing electricity, your own electricity. It's going to be clean, it's going to be more affordable, it's going to be more reliable. So give us a call here at All Solar Texas. We help you understand how much you're actually going to be saving. We walk you through some of our forecasts and estimates and projections on how much electric rates are going to be costing you, not just now but also in the future, and how much you could actually save by locking in and going solar today. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball, so I can't look into the future and tell you exactly how much your electricity is going to be costing you and how much those rates are going to be going up. But I can tell you this. Based on my experience, having worked for the utility, having been in this industry for all my professional career, I can tell you with a high level of confidence that costs are not going down. I mean, take a look at inflation. We're now at 9.1% inflation just this year. Then you have the uncertainty of the global economy and also the global dynamics that are going on. We have these relationships with Saudi Arabia. We have these relationships with China, with Russia, all of these energy producers out there, plus the local political climate here in America that really is threatening the American energy production from being right here in Texas, a huge oil and gas state, as well as across the United States where we have other energy sources. So there's all of these geopolitical dynamics that are at play, plus you have inflation, commodity prices and fluctuation. It's a very dynamic process. It's a dynamic system. And so we can't tell you for sure how much you can expect to be paying for electricity year after year, but what we can tell you is that those costs are going up. They're going to go up exponentially as more people move to Texas and more businesses move to Texas and put greater demand on our system. Our system isn't getting any younger. This grid isn't getting more robust. In fact, it's getting more fragile. You layer on. Okay, folks, that about wraps it up for today, but before we take off, please drop a comment below and let me know how high has your electric rates gone up as compared to last year. It's probably not pretty. All right, I can't wait to hear from you. Thank you, and God bless.